and welcome to this panel discussion on Western alienation. This panel will be moderated by Philip Green, newscaster for CBC Edmonton, and will feature such panel members as myself, Luke Say, Western historian for the Royal Saskatchewan Museum, Thomas Ash, economics professor at the University of Saskatchewan, and Eleanor Marsh, councilwoman for the City Council of Winnipeg. I will be presenting on Western alienation as a whole. Mr. Ash will be presenting on the future of Western alienation and possible outcomes, and Mrs. Marsh will be presenting on the physical and political aspects of Western alienation. Western alienation is nothing new. It's existed as long as there's been an Eastern and a Western Canada. However, Western alienation only became a large problem in the 1980s with such actions as the NEP, which were in response to an oil shortage caused by Arabs refusing to sell oil to Western powers. This caused the Liberal government to enact the National Energy Program, which was seen by many Albertans as a government grab at one of Alberta's greatest sources of income, its oil, which it is still known for today. The NEP introduced federal ownership of Albertan oil, as well as imposing a national price on the oil which was 85% lower than the world average. Defenders of the NEP claimed that the government was just trying to secure national oil reserves in a time of economic crisis, but that attempt ultimately failed, only driving the first wedge between the East and the West. The NEP is not the only wedge between the East and the West, however, with such wedges as equalization and the political underrepresentation of Western provinces such as Saskatchewan and Manitoba and Alberta, with provinces like Quebec holding a very large representation while overall representing very little of the values of the rest of the country. Equalization in particular is a sore spot among Western provinces, as it moves funds from provinces designated as have provinces to provinces designated as have not provinces. The difference between these is that have provinces are supposed to have more resources at their disposal and provide funds from those resources to provinces which do not have the ability to make those funds or supposedly lack those resources. In particular, I'm referring to Alberta, which has supposedly much larger oil reserves that it can tap into, as opposed to Quebec or Ontario, which has fewer natural resources at their disposal, causing the government to shift funds from Alberta to Ontario. Normally, it would only seem fair that the province that has more would give to the province that has less. But the equalization payments have never been scrutinized as to their actual impact on the provinces that the money is taken from and the provinces that the money is given to. For example, Ontario, which is designated a have-not province, has significantly better services than Saskatchewan, which is designated a have province. So money is taken from Saskatchewan, which has less services, and given to Ontario, which has more services, on the pretext that Ontario has less ability to provide for those services on its own. The reason for the lack of scrutiny of the equalization payments is probably for much the same reasons the next point I'm about to bring up, and that is the underrepresentation of Western provinces in our parliament. Population-wise, Quebec and Ontario account for nearly 60% of Canada's total population, but the way our voting system is set up, that means that they account for nearly 70% of the total vote. This means that Ontario and Quebec, which already have the majority vote, get an even greater vote, further underrepresenting that of the Western provinces such as Alberta and Saskatchewan, and to a lesser extent BC. This is further accentuated by the political divide between East and West, with the East being largely Liberal, while in the West, the Liberals have not won a majority vote in over 30 years, with the exception of 2 elections in BC. In short, the Western provinces feel left out, alienated, unrespected, and forgotten. Just take a look at the Salmon Arm salute. In my mind, that says it all.